Hello there everybody, this is Kelly and I'd like to welcome you back to the Honeybee Stamps YouTube channel and day 2 of sneak peeks for our Falloween release. Make sure you check out the description box below for all the details. First today I have the Sweet Halloween Sentiment Set. Now these are cute Halloween greetings. We have sentiments like ghostly greetings, love you to death, too cute to spook, all tricks, no treats, happy Meowoween, I'm batty about you, spooktacular wishes, and more. There's also the coordinating die set that's going to cut out all of these amazing Halloween sweet sentiments. Next is the Halloween stamp and coordinating die set. I love these solid stamps because I can do lots of techniques with them. There are owls, ghosts, clouds, and bats. There is the moon, a branch, and trees. There's also Happy Halloween and Hey Boo. Now the coordinating die set is really cool because there's lots of options included in the die set as well. So you see the two different moons there. One will cut out the moon and add in the embossed detail. One is just going to cut out the stamped image. Same thing with the tree. One is going to give you a tree die cut, and then one is a little bit larger, as you can see, so it's going to leave the edge around the stamp design. Now there's also a die that is going to cut out the sentiments and all of the little extras that can go onto your Halloween scene. Here's a card that I created in one of our live streams using the tree and lots of the solid stamps, and I did a fun inky background. Stick around at the end of this video and I'm going to create a similar card. Next up is our Lovely Layers Scaredy Cat. Now this die set creates a sweet little kitty cat that you can choose to use with the little hat or without. It also has a little bandana or a little scarf. There is a pumpkin that you can use just as a pumpkin, or you can turn it into a jack-o'-lantern. There is a cute little bat and a cute little spider, and these images, or these die cuts, pair perfectly with the Sweet Halloween Sentiment Set. Now let's take a look at the layering guide for the Lovely Layers Scaredy Cat. You can see our layering guide is going to help you out in putting together the cat, the pumpkin or the jack-o'-lantern, and then all the little bits and pieces like the bat, the spider, the hat, and the cute little scarf. Next is our Happy Haunting stencil and die combo, so they coordinate with one another. This is a layering stencil set that's going to give you a cute little witch's hat, little ghost, a jack-o'-lantern, bats, a little candies, and more. So let's take a look at each of these stencils together, and I'm going to lay these out one by one. Now each stencil is going to help you to color in a background and have different little parts and pieces for each one. So there's one that has the witch's hat and the starting of the jack-o'-lantern. There's the ghosts. There are little details here like the stems to the pumpkins and little parts of the candies. Here are other parts of the jack-o'-lantern and other little details. We have more little pumpkins added in the background, and then I love this fun, kind of messy spider web design that's a little bonus or a little extra in this set. Now the dies are going to cut out all the images in this design. What I like to do is I like to die cut first and then use the stencils to color in my cute little die cuts. Next, let's take a look at the layering guide for the Happy Haunting stencils and dies. You can see all the little bits and pieces that each stencil will color in, and then there are examples at the bottom of the full background plus what all of your little die cuts will look like. Next is the Lovely Layers Crow. Now this is a fun one. You know that I love all types of birds. I love this great detailed crow, and I've done some misting, shimmery mist on papers and put him together. All the layers are very detailed, and it's really easy to put together this crow. Let's take a look at the layering guide. So you can see there are only 4 large pieces of the crow and then an extra wing you can add on, and then of course his eye. Next is the Something to Crow About sentiment set and coordinating dies. So we have sentiments like Harvest Happiness with a hint of hay, Scarecrow Kisses and Harvest Wishes, I just cawed to say I love you, something to crow about, hey there good looking, and hanging with my chromies. Now this not only goes with the crow, but it also goes with the Lovely Layer Scarecrow, which I shared yesterday. The coordinating die set that goes with the Something to Crow About sentiment set is going to cut out all of those great greetings. Next is the Lovely Layers bat. Now I love this Lovely Layers set. You can create your bat in two different looks. So you can have your bat that is all wrapped up in his wings, or you can have your bat with his wings all nice and wide and spread. He's got a sweet little face even. Let's take a look at the layering guide for a better look here. So this is going to help you to put together your little bat, whether you want to have his wings all tucked up together or spread out, and you can see how he's hanging from that little branch. And I just love his cute little face. Next is the Lovely Layers Front Porch Fall Add-on. So you're going to start with our original front porch. And then you can use the add-on to deck your front porch out for fall or for Halloween. So you're getting a twofer in this die set. So you can see there are hinges on the front doors that you can open. You can dress it up for fall with a fall wreath, pumpkins, even a little wagon wheel. There's a bear tree. And then there are all the elements to build a more spooky front porch. So there's little ghosts, there's jack-o'-lanterns. You can add the spooky spider webs and little things that look like the boarded up doors and windows. There's even a little black cat. Now here's the layering guide for the Lovely Layers Falloween Front Porch Add-on, and this is truly a two-for die set. You can see all the fall elements like the leaves, but then we have the ghosts and the jack-o'-lantern and the black cat, so you can design your front porch however you'd like to for fall. Next is a sentiment die set called Too Cute to Spook. Now this die set comes with the shadow piece and then also the piece that's going to give you the words. So you can use just the words and have that thin die cut on your card, or you can use the shadow and make it a big bold design. Perfect to go with our Lovely Layers Scaredy Cat. Next is the Tangled Web 3D embossing folder. Now this embossing folder is going to press in all that amazing spider web detail. It is 5 by 7 in size, so it's perfect for our A7 card makers. And here is a look at the embossing folder. I'm going to put the paper in here so it's easier for us to see the design. And then when you press your paper in, you're going to get all of that amazing detail pop out with those spider webs. Here I have used some gray paper and brushed our opaque white ink over the top to give it a really fun Halloween design. Okay, it's time to create a card today with some of today's items. I'm using the Halloween stamp and die set. Now I'm showing you here the dies for the tree. So you have the die that will cut out the stamp design, and then the die that will give you just the tree or the branch or the moon with all the details in it. So you could use either one depending on what type of card you want to make. I'm going to start out with some masking paper in my Misty, and I am going to make a mask of the moon. So I am taking the stamp with just some ink. I don't need to ink it up just perfectly because I am going to fussy cut this moon. I'm going to go right around the edge. It's a simple circle, so it's super easy just to run my scissors around the edge. And then I am going to take the tree branch from the die set, or I'm actually using the little tree branch that I die cut, and I'm trying to figure out where to place my moon. When I get the perfect placement, I can move the die cut aside, and now I'm ready to ink blend because I've got that mask down. I am starting out with wild honey, and I'm going to brush that on with my Honeybee Stamps blending brushes all along the edges. I'm getting the bottom part of that card base all saturated in that really pretty ink, and then I'm going to move on to ripe persimmon. Starting off of the paper, that way I don't make a big mess on my cardstock, I'm taking that ripe persimmon right where I stopped the wild honey. I'm getting part of it right along the edges, really saturated, and then I'm going to start blending my way down into that more yellowy orange of the wild honey. You can see I took the Wild Honey brush to go back over that little line where I needed to blend those together better and just kind of brushed over it to smooth it out. Next, I'm taking Fired Brick, and again, I'm starting off the edge of the paper. That way I don't leave any harsh brush marks or anything like that, and just makes it easier for me to blend on that color. Again, I'm going to get it really saturated going across one area of that cardstock, and then I'm going to blend it down into the more orange color of the right persimmon. Now, next I'm going to take Faded Jeans, and this is where our night sky is going to start looking a little more spooky for Halloween. So I'm taking Faded Jeans and I'm starting right on the moon. I'm going right around the moon area to get it really good and dark. And I actually love how Faded Jeans and the Fired Brick blend together. Do you see how it makes that really dark charcoal gray color? I was afraid it was going to make it look a little more, I don't know, brown or dingy or something. And I really like the gray. Next, I'm taking Blueprint Sketch to add a really deep, rich blue up to the top of my cardstock, and I'm just going to lightly blend that around the area of my moon. Next, I'm taking Squeeze Lemonade, and this is where we're really going to get the glow for the moon right around the edge. You can see I left a space up there. I didn't want that blue area to get really dark up there, so I kind of left it a little lighter, and then I'm just going to blend that Squeeze Lemonade all around the edges until I'm happy with how it looks. I can take my Blueprint sketch brush and kind of just blend and brush that on a little bit more. Same thing with the Fired Brick, just to make sure I'm happy with the way that everything is blended together. I can remove my mask and you can see that bright white spot left there where I had my moon mask down. Now I'm going to add color to my moon now with the stamp. So I'm going to get my head way over the top to make sure that my moon stamp and my masked area match up nicely. And then I'm going to start out with antique linen. So I'm just going to kind of messily dab my ink pad directly onto my stamp. I'm going to take a little bit of Lost Shadow on a little finger dauber, and I'm going to add some gray area in, maybe where the craters of the moon will be. And those little crater designs are on the stamp as well as that special die as well that will press or emboss in the design. So now that I have my stamp covered with the gray and the antique linen right around the edge with a finger dauber, I'm going to add the bright yellow of the squeezed lemonade. That's going to really blend into the edge where I blended it onto the card base. So I'm going to stamp this down, use my pressure tool, and really let that ink do its job and really kind of get onto or seep into the paper. I'm going to pick it up now. You can see I love the squeezed lemonade edges. I need to work on my center part just a little bit where the antique linen and the lost shadow was. So again, I'm going to take my finger dauber and dab on color exactly where I want it. I can kind of blend that out. That's the great thing with the Misty and these solid stamps is you can just keep working it, keep adding color and things until you're happy with how everything looks. The next thing I do is take a water brush that has the little water well inside of it. I'm just flicking water right off of the bristles and I'm activating that oxide ink, and that's going to give me lighter portions to the background. Now to add a little bit of texture, I took my damp cloth, and that because that nubby cloth has texture to it, that texture is going to pick up on the background of my design. Now I picked up a little bit of the ink, so I'm just dabbing my little ink blender or my little sponge dauber right around the edges until I'm happy with how that looks. I can pick up my design here, dry it with my heat tool, and then this background is going to be all ready to stamp on. The first thing I'm going to add to my kind of spooky background is the tree branch. Now I know I'm going to trim around the edges of this so my tree branch doesn't start hanging off of the edge, But I am stamping all of my little images here in black soot ink. So it's going to add or make that silhouette design. So once I am happy with the tree branch, I'm going to add the little hanging bat. I think that these things are so adorable. I love that the eyes are open, so you actually see whatever color was added behind the image is what's going to come through as the eyes. I picked out a cute little owl. I love his little feathers up on his head. And I'm going to perch him right up on that tree branch. And he's going to kind of be partially covering the moon and then partially kind of hanging off there. Now, I started out with hickory smoke and walnut stain. And you can blend all kinds of different colors onto these solid stamps. That's the fun of solid stamps. I love these. Now, because my background was so dark with the ink blending, I wasn't getting enough coverage on my little owl. So I just keep adding ink and adding ink and adding layers until I am happy with how he looks. So down there towards the bottom of the owl, I start adding black soot over the top of the hickory smoke. And I'm happy with his body now. And again, I can add the walnut stain. You can see I'm adding it directly onto the stamp. So his little ears or his little feathers up there are more really dark brown. And then towards the bottom of his body got really dark with the black soot. Next, I'm going to add the clouds kind of floating across the front of the moon. I can also add the Happy Halloween sentiment towards the bottom. Now, I stamped the clouds with the hickory smoke, which is the really rich gray. So I'm going to start with that first and see how it covers going across all of that ink that I already have on my background. And I was really happy with how we got that smoky, cloudy look over the top or the yellow parts of the moon. But over the darker parts of the background, I needed something a little bit darker. So that's when I took my sponge dauber and black soot and only went over the parts that I knew were going to hang off onto those darker blue portions of the background. And this darkened that up beautifully. I love the way that the clouds turned out. When I was happy with the inking and stamping of the clouds, next I inked up all of the Happy Halloween sentiment with black soot ink and just went over it until it was really nice, crisp, and dark. And again, stamp it several times because we're stamping all over those layers of the inked background, the blended background. I'm going to add the flying bat into the sky. And again, I love the little eyes here because you can see that yellow underneath. And then I am going to trim this down, or I've trimmed it down to be 4 by 5.25. I'm going to pop up my ink blended background on an orange card base, and I love the way that this ink blended kind of spooky background pops off of that orange card base. And then to finish this card off, sorry, I got right over the top to line up that background onto my card base. I'm going to add some of our Fall is in the Air gem stickers just to the centers of the owl's eyes. And so those are going to be a little bit fun, a little bit googly, and really shimmery when you tilt it in the light. So here's a close-up look at the finished card. I love the way that this turned out, and those solid stamps are so much fun to play with. Thank you for joining me today and checking out all the items in day 2 of sneak peeks of our Falloween release. Make sure you check out the description box below, and the entire release will be available after our release party on August the 23rd. See you tomorrow!